Well, here we are. The winter meetings have not been fun. At least the last like hour of the winter meetings were not fun for most Red Sox fans like myself. But here at Bleacher Brawls, we're gonna try and bring some coverage to the winter meetings. We covered the Aaron Judge signing yesterday morning. We've held off on everything else. We want to do a big video on all the signings from yesterday, and then the biggest one hits late at night. I think it was just after midnight. We'll get to that big one in a second. But yeah, we're gonna get to it and get to all the signings, the big ones, the smaller ones happening yesterday. We're gonna cover all right here on Bleacher Brawls. So my name is Derrik, and let's get straight into it. Well, let's start off with the non-Red Sox stuff, because the Red Sox stuff is the biggest story. Jose Quintana to the Mets. The Mets need to continue to fill out their rotation. They lost DeGrom. Obviously, they got Verlander to replace him. Right now, Chris Bassett's still a free agent, and also too, they just lost Taijuan Walker to the Phillies. So, Jose Quintana, 2-year deal, $26 million on that deal, so $13 a year. It's a solid deal. It's nothing mind-blowing, but Quintana was good last year, solid last year for the Pirates and the Cardinals, I'm pretty sure. So just a solid lefty starter you can put in your rotation. And I expect him to do fine in New York. I don't expect him to have any problems. I think that's kind of the smallest signing of the day, pretty much. Wilson Contreras. I'll spend a little bit of time on this one, though. Wilson Contreras to the Cubs division rivals, St. Louis Cardinals, 5 years, $87.5 million. I like this deal for the Cardinals, just in the sense that they needed a catcher. Now, Contreras behind the plate isn't bad. I think people misconceive him as a bad catcher. I don't think he's bad behind the plate, but I also don't think he's good, if that makes sense. I don't think he's good, but I don't think he's like bad. If you kind of get what I'm saying there, he's all right. Like, you could take a defensive upgrade over him, but with the offense he brings, you're gonna live with it. You will be more than fine living with it. And I think St. Louis is gonna be a good fit. He can kind of hit in that middle of the lineup. I mean, he'll probably be behind Goldschmidt and Arenado in that lineup, so that's gonna be a very good spot for him in that lineup. And St. Louis is gonna get a little bit longer with them. As Contreras is an offensive upgrade from Yadier Molina. He just is. And that's why I like this deal. Contreras can give you 20, 25 home run pop from the catcher spot. One of the best hitting catchers in baseball. You get the chance to bring in a guy like that at the catcher spot. I know the defense is the main thing from the catcher spot, but if you can get a guy who brings that offensive side of things brings the offensive side of things to the table, you take it, especially if the defense is good enough. And Contreras behind the plate, he's good enough, I think, to stick there. Maybe not throughout the whole course of this 5-year deal, but through most of it, if not all of it. He should be able to stick behind the plate, in my opinion. Especially if the automated strike zone comes in. That'll only help the catchers who struggle a little bit behind the plate. All in all, that signing, I think it's just a good signing all around. Fits a team need. It's a good spot for Contreras to land a winning team. And the Cardinals, they got to load up for the postseason, because it feels like the Brewers are kind of retooling. I don't think they're not going on a full rebuild. I think they're just going to retool. But they might be a little bit. They might not be as good in 2023. But I don't think it's going to be some long rebuild. I think it's just more of a retool for them. The Cubs are kind of pushing to have a good team, but will it be ready to compete next year? I don't know. So with that, you're kind of looking at it and going, okay, yeah, the Cardinals probably winning that division, which means, okay, cool, you're in the playoffs, but we just saw what happened. They won that division. We're still in the wild card round, and the Phillies beat them in 2 games. So they got to get the wins in the postseason when it matters. And that's what they got to build toward, to get deeper into the postseason and to try and win a World Series. That's what they have to do. They have to get closer to that. But now let's move on to the Red Sox stuff. This is the stuff. As a Red Sox fan, for me, I saw the Kenley Jansen signing 2 years, 32 million or 33 million. I said on the podcast, on the Bleacher Brawls podcast, I just don't like Jansen that much. I don't know. Takes too long for me. Just takes so long between pitches, and now he's got to adjust to a pitch clock too. That is worrisome. But if he can adjust to it, that's my massive concern with him, just the adjustment to the pitch clock. But if he can adjust to it, the Red Sox do have a legit closer there. He's not the same Kenley Jansen he was 5 or 6 years ago when he was the best closer in baseball, but he's still a very good closer. And for the Red Sox, it's a massive improvement. They need to improve that bullpen, and Kenley Jansen will do that. It pushes everyone back an inning, moves Houck from the 9th inning to the 8th inning, Schreiber from the 8th to the 7th. Whoever would have pitched the 7th to the 6th, whoever was going to pitch the 6th to the 5th. It just kind of pushes guys back when everyone's ready to go, which is massive. And over the last 2 years, he's had almost 80 saves. I think he's had 41 and 38. So what's that? 79 saves in the last 2 years. So he can still get the job done. So 2-year deal. At the end of the day, I'm not losing my mind over it, but I'm not going to complain about it either, right? My just big worry is, can he get used to the pitch clock and not being able to just take his time in between pitches? That's the one worry for me for him. But if he can, like I said, if he can adjust to that, I think he'll be fine. And then the signing I was very excited for, Matasaka, Yoshida. I'm very excited about Yoshida. It just feels like he's got good. He just feels like he's one of those guys who just has a really good approach at the plate. And to me, I know sometimes Japanese players don't always come over and perform like they did in Japan. Their skills don't always translate. But to me, you don't just lose your approach, even though you're coming over from Japan like Yoshida will be. I don't see him losing that approach. There might be a little bit of a transition period, but it's I don't think you're losing I don't think you're losing that approach, right? So although there might be a transition period, the Red Sox are going to have their guy in Yoshida who can be their leadoff hitter, and they desperately needed a leadoff hitter. Being a left-handed hitter, I'm not crazy about that. But it's all right. So yeah, Matasaka, Yoshida. I'm going to have to try and figure out how to say his first name, but his last name's a lot easier to say. So yeah, Yoshida to the Red Sox. 5-year deal worth $90 million. There's also a posting fee just over $15 million for that. And I think the Red Sox did that deal expecting the other pieces to fall in line. But I really like the Yoshida deal. I think he's got a Luis Arraez almost approach where he just doesn't strike out, draws enough walks, and hits for a high average. Obviously, like I said, it might have a little bit of a transition period coming over the big leagues. But you don't just lose that approach. And I love Luis Arraez. I love his approach at the plate, and Yoshida feels a little similar almost. And everything that we've heard about Yoshida is just been positive. Just positive. The only thing is, it looks like he's going to end up playing left field, so now Verdugo's going to play right. I don't think it'll be that big of a problem, but it's just something to kind of, look out for. Because Verdugo has had his defensive struggles at times. But I wonder if it's more like a focusing, almost like Nick Castellanos. It's like, I can't focus for 162, but I get to the playoffs, I can focus. I wonder if maybe that's a thing for Verdugo, just in the field. I don't know. Because Verdugo's shown flashes of being able to play well defensively, but it's also shown flashes of struggling. So, but I think all in all, the Yoshida signing, very, very solid piece of work from the Red Sox. And when Mitch Haniger went to the Giants, a lot of our Red Sox crew, including myself, was like, this isn't good. And then I'm like Yoshida in my head, I was just like, Yoshida's out there. They're going to go get Yoshida. Watch. Yoshida gets posted in the morning. And then the Red Sox just nab him up a few hours later. That just tells me all the feeling in the world. The Red Sox were interested in Haniger, but he wasn't their first option. Yoshida was their first option. I mean, they gave him a 5-year deal. I think Yoshida was the Red Sox first option. They wanted to get that deal done. And leading into tonight, everything was going great for the Red Sox. It's getting late. Everyone's kind of getting ready to go to bed, I guess, in that sense. And then that nail in the coffin, or not maybe nail in the coffin, but the tweet comes, and it wasn't necessarily a fun one for a Red Sox fan. John Heyman, the tweet goes, Bogaerts to Padres, $280 million, 11 years. And as a Red Sox fan, I'm not even talking about the contract. I'm not talking about the contract here. I'm talking about Xander Bogaerts and not being on the Red Sox. It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck to see Xander play for another team. The Mookie trade, when Mookie was traded, didn't hurt me that bad. Also, too, it was 2020, and 2020 was a whole crapshoot. Wasn't as big of a deal. I feel like Xander and Mookie didn't choose to go to the Dodgers, although, whatever. But, you get the whole point, right? Xander, as a free agent, still could have stuck with the Red Sox. And he goes to the Padres. And now I'm not blaming him. You get that contract, you take it. I'm happy for him getting the contract, but it's the Red Sox at one. It hurts a little bit in the heart, right? And I've said it, I think Trey Turner's a better fit for the Red Sox, but Xander Bogaerts is a better acquisition, is better to keep for the team. For the Red Sox as a team, Xander Bogaerts makes more sense, and he should be the priority. And what sucks is the Red Sox gave him a contract that, had you given it to him in spring training, I think he takes it. But the shortstop market got blown out of proportion with the Trey Turner deal, and then the Padres missing out on Turner led to them trying to get Judge. They were late into that party, and then they turn and go to Bogaerts, and they give Bogaerts 11 years. I wouldn't have gone anywhere near 11 years if I'm the Red Sox. It's one of those things that you're just like, yeah, it doesn't make sense contract-wise, but you're still going to miss the player. And it's going to suck to see him play for the Padres. It's one of those things where you just don't want to see the guy go. Not just because of what he means to the team, not just the players, what he means to the team, what he means to the city. Won 2 World Series with the Red Sox. We've seen him almost grow from as a kid to where he is now, and now it's also to 11 years with the Padres. He plays the whole of that contract. He'll spend more years in a Padres uniform than a Red Sox uniform. And that one hurts. That hurts, especially that, he might spend more time in a Padres uniform than a Red Sox uniform. That one hurts. But good for him on getting that contract. But yeah, it's probably, for the Red Sox, probably a little bit much. Now the Red Sox weren't anywhere close. The Red Sox had 6 years, 160. The Padres 11, 280. It's $120 million difference. Can you blame the Red Sox? I know Luke it was saying, you don't go more than 6 years for Xander. 6 years, 150 it was the max. The Red Sox went 6 years, 160. Just, you're not going to compete with the Padres when they put in a bid $120 million more than what you offered. It's just, you're just not. And I feel like this one falls more on Red Sox ownership, not Chaim Bloom. Obviously, Chaim Bloom probably going to give them one, but when it comes to signing these $200 million, $300 million deals, this is an ownership decision, because the money, it's not like the ownership just gives the guy $30 million every year. The total value of that contract, the $280 the Padres are paying Bogaerts, I think goes into a bank and just sits there, and it doesn't get touched. And when time for Bogaerts to get paid, it gets paid out to him, but it does not get touched. Right? It's got to go away as soon as that contract is signed, and you can't just take it out. So you got to set that money aside. And is John Henry willing to do it when he's got other things going on in the portfolio, as Tyler Milliken has said on Jared Carrabis' podcast? They have other things going on in the portfolio, like Liverpool. I know they're trying to sell them, but still, like trying to buy the Commanders, like trying to get the Vegas NBA team, get an expansion team there. And they get so many other things they're trying to do. They're going to sell Liverpool at some point. If they something happens with Devers and they're not willing to give Devers money, at some point you're looking at the Red Sox, you might just go like sell the team, go to your salary cap sports, and let someone buy the team who will actually pay the money to the superstars, because it's getting a little ridiculous. Mookie's a little bit different situation, but still wasn't willing to give Mookie couldn't get Mookie the long-term deal. Now you're not getting Bogaerts that long-term deal. And now you might have Devers coming up. And even go before that, even back to the Lester and the Ellsbury and whatever. And even David Ortiz had problem getting long-term contracts from the Red Sox ownership. So it's more now. I understand Chaim Bloom's going to catch a lot of the slack. And when Sam Kennedy goes out as a talking face for the owners, he's going to catch a lot of slack from this. But at the end of the day, the responsibility, Hal Steinbrenner did it with the Yankees and Aaron Judge. He went and gave Judge the money. If the Yankees don't up their offer to 9 years for $360 million, Judge leaves. Hal Steinbrenner, we got to give you the money? Okay, we'll give you the money. That's what John Henry needed to do. Obviously, this one, now, the 11 years, 280, bit much. Why didn't you just give him the money in the spring? Would have got him for cheaper. Give him the money in spring training when you're having these contract negotiations. That one's on John Henry. It's on John Henry, because Chaim Bloom can only work with the money John Henry's allowing him to spend. And yes, like they've spent some money, like Yoshida's is a big deal, $90 million for a guy who hasn't played in the big leagues yet, which I love it deal, but it's still it's noticeable, right? But it's like you could have just gotten Bogaerts done in spring training. And the whole Devers thing is going to come up now, is like, got to get Devers done. If Devers, at this point, I don't see Devers sitting for agency with the Red Sox. It's either he's going to sign an extension or they're going to trade him before the trade deadline. That's what's going to happen. And at the end of the day, can you really blame Chaim Bloom? You can't blame Chaim Bloom for the Mookie Betts trade, because he came in and that was essentially his first thing they told him to do. Xander Bogaerts leaving. I know maybe, Chaim Bloom could have pushed ownership a little bit harder, maybe. I don't know. But you fully blame Chaim Bloom for that? It feels more like an ownership thing with these long-term deals and ownership not paying them. And if Devers goes, like, you can't just blame Chaim Bloom. You got to start asking questions to the guy who Chaim Bloom has to answer to. And that's the ownership. And that's where you start running into some problems. But yeah, sucks to see Bogaerts go. I don't want to keep this going on forever, because I don't want this video to be too long. But it's just so unfortunate for Red Sox fans. We're feeling it, especially to the Yankees stealing Judge away from the Giants, and especially from the Padres. Really, I know Judge wasn't going to go to the Padres anyway. Well, actually, no. The Phillies taking Trey Turner away from the Padres started the domino effect. The Phillies getting Trey Turner because the Padres try and go to Judge. It was too late to go to Judge, and Judge ended up going back to the Yankees. Now, the Padres get in on Bogaerts, and also, too, the Giants are in on Carlos Correa. So now, and Correa, a Boras agent. Is Boras going to want his guy to go to the Red Sox? I don't know. Now, Boras said, I don't talk to GMs or whatever, I talk to the owners. And if we're saying that's true, if Boras is saying that and that's true, can you blame Chaim Bloom for this? No. If Boras is talking to the owners, if we're going by what Scott Boras says, I only talk to the owners. Well, Chaim Bloom's not an owner, so figure it out for yourself. And so really the Red Sox, it's really starting to look like, Correa, do you really want to do that's going to be more money than Bogaerts? That's kind of insulting to Bogaerts. At that point, you might as well just pay Bogaerts. And then it's like Dansby Swan, unless you get Correa on a short-term deal, doesn't look likely. And then you're starting to look Dansby Swanson. Does it make sense? I mean, now you got to give up the pick for the qualifying offer. It's just a total crapshoot. Yes, Marcelo Myers coming in a couple of years. That's still in a couple of years, though. Could they trade for a shortstop as a stopgap kind of guy till Myers ready? Yeah. Could you try and play Kike or Trevor Story there? Yeah, you could. Is it ideal? No, it's not. It is not ideal. Ideally, you would have Xander Bogaerts playing shortstop for the Boston Red Sox until Marcelo Myers is ready. And if it's in season, Bogaerts takes that short in season. If Myers ready to come up for opening day, you in the off season tell Bogaerts you're moving a third, and Devers DHs, or you're just moving Bogaerts to DH, or you're moving Bogaerts to second and doing something to the store. That's how it should have been. That's not how it is, and it sucks as a Red Sox fan. But yeah, that's a good place to wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in to Bleacher Brawls. Make sure to check out all the links in the description of the Bleacher Brawls podcast, website, Instagram, and Twitter. Plus all the crew's Twitter. They'll all be down there in the description. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever you post. Pray for us, Red Sox fans. Red Sox Twitter is been on fire. And it will be on fire most likely for the coming months now. So pray for all Red Sox fans who have to endure that. Cool, great, all right. Yeah. Comment your thoughts on the winter meetings as a whole. All these signings, the Bogaerts signing, the Quintana signing, the Contreras signing, the Jansen signing, and the Yoshida signing, plus all the ones that happened before yesterday as well. Let us know your thoughts on it. Sucks for Red Sox fans that Bogaerts are gone, but did make some solid moves as well. Cardinals got a good catcher, and the Mets got a solid guy for the back end of their rotation. Eventful day. Winter meetings are pretty much done. Well, I'm gonna say they're pretty much done. They are done. And yeah. Thanks for tuning in to Bleacher Brawls. My name is Derrik, and I'll see you next time.